Welcome to the Thrive 25 in 5 podcast, where we provide a quick win to optimize your health and longevity in just 5 minutes. Welcome to today's podcast, where we wrap up our theme of nutrition. You know, so often we like to place blame on the food industry for why we eat the way we do. And it's easy to call out stats like 70% of the grocery store is full of ultra-processed food. And it even starts way back at the farm. We actually use 317 million acres for growing commodity crops and only 2 million acres for nutrient-dense vegetables. And when you put this together, it doesn't surprise any of us that we eat just 15 commodities, things like wheat, soy, and corn. But the reality is that unless you live in a food desert, the average grocery store does have a sufficient produce section. In fact, it can be overwhelming to figure out how to eat all of these veggies. How do you cook leeks? What's a good recipe for bok choy? And even the vegetables we claim to really like, things like artichokes and beets, often get passed over. We grab our 1 to 2 favorites and we call it a day. Well, we're going to call out 4 vegetables that should absolutely go in your cart and how to make them taste awesome. Number 1 is broccoli. Broccoli, and even more so broccoli sprouts, are full of sulforaphane, a top-tier antioxidant that helps us fight off cancer cells. Specifically, it even lowers the risk of prostate cancer and melanoma. So what's crazy is most of the sulforaphane is actually in the stem of the broccoli, not just the top. So what are some tips of how to buy and prepare broccoli so that you'll actually enjoy it? First, make sure you buy bright green broccoli with no yellow flowers or limp stems. And you can steam it or saute it and mix it with olive oil, lemon juice, garlic, and some salt and pepper. It brings out a robust flavor without the bitter taste. And then if that's still not enough, go ahead and throw on some grass-fed butter or some Parmesan cheese. And I do want to call out a special call out for broccoli sprouts. They are actually 50 to 100 times more nutritious than the full-grown plant. See if you can find these at your local store, and we're going to put a link in our show notes of exactly why you should be looking at broccoli sprouts. Next up is eggplant. I'll be honest, it hasn't typically been my favorite. I just don't love the texture, but it has tons of polyphenols. Again, those chemicals that give plants their color, and in this case, that dark purple on the outside of an eggplant. Eggplant, according to Dr. William Lee, is one of the few foods that supports nearly every defense system in our body, and it even lowers our inflammation and supports our DNA. So how do we get it where not only we'll like it, but even our kids? One of the things we do in our house is put cheese and tomato sauce right on an eggplant ring and bake it for 20 minutes and serve up little pizzas. They're actually super delicious. And you know another purple food that's worth trying? Purple potatoes. When baked and covered with grass-fed butter, these potatoes are amazing, and some studies suggest that they help us fight colon cancer. And if you're not into that, sweet potatoes are still a great choice because they have tons of nutrients, and unlike white potatoes, they don't spike our glucose or insulin levels, which causes severe metabolic dysfunction. And finally, I want to call out the carrot. Right now, a bag of organic, regular-sized carrots is less than $2 at Whole Foods, and it's just such an easy snack. Slice and eat it with hummus, tzatziki, or even peanut butter, or roast them and add a little goat cheese. Absolutely delicious. Carrots are full of carotenoids, specifically beta-carotene, which gives it its orange color. This is a source of vitamin A, which is essential for our long-term eye health, plus tons of other benefits. Now, here's the thing. Eating any one of these foods isn't going to completely change your health or ensure longevity. I don't believe you can just eat purple potatoes and have a 50% lower risk of colon cancer. Instead, our body is more like a symphony, and every player of every instrument needs to be playing together. Vitamin C doesn't work by itself. It has to work with other vitamins and minerals to be absorbed and activated. So the key is when we get a wide variety of all of these vitamins, all of these polyphenols and minerals and fiber, that's when our body functions the right way. So go try to eat as many of these incredible vegetables as you can. That's all for today. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you back here on Monday with a new theme next week. Until then, have an awesome day. While we strive to provide informative and inspiring content, the information shared in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare provider for any personal health concerns or before starting a new health regimen.